Hello everyone, welcome to another learning episode. Today I'll be sharing a new series in this learning channel, and this is what we call the Literature Review series. This series is divided into 3 episodes. For our first episode, we will talk about the introduction to literature review. So what is literature review? Literature review shares a compilation of findings and concepts from different scholarly sources related to your research topic. A literature could be a previous research, an information you found from a book, an article, a journal, or even a news report related to your research study. Writing literature review is one of the tedious process in working or in crafting your research paper. However, there are 4 ways or 4 approaches we could write our literature review. The first one is what we call the chronological approach. We also have the methodological approach, theoretical approach, and then the thematic approach. Now we're going to discuss each of these approaches. We will start with the chronological approach. Chronological approach is structuring or organizing your literature review based on a certain time frame. When you are using a chronological approach, you are tracing the development of your study over time. For instance, you're doing a medical research about cancer or the treatment of cancer. You could start arranging your literature review from the earlier ways of treating cancer down to the modern ways of treating cancer. So that is how you use chronological approach. As I said earlier, it's like tracing the development of the topic over time. Then the second approach is what we call the methodological approach. This approach uses different sources from different research methods. So if you're a researcher and you're using a methodological approach, what you do is compare the results and conclusions from different research approaches. For instance, I'm looking into the topic of inclusive education here in the Philippines. Maybe I could start by looking into quantitative research first. So what is the level of implementation of inclusive education here in the Philippines? How widely implemented it is? I can then look for another research study, this time maybe a more specific approach or a narrower scope, like a case study, for example, of inclusive education in a certain school. And then right after that, I could also look into another qualitative research with a different research design, like a narrative inquiry, for example. Maybe I could look into the results of an interview transcripts based on the answers of awarded special education teachers and what are the methods and strategies they use in implementing inclusive education in their respective classes. Now, that is how we work on a methodological approach. It's looking into different research method and checking on each of the results and conclusion, looking into the patterns, what are the similarities and what are the differences. Now moving on to another approach, which is the theoretical approach. Theoretical approach, as the name suggests, it is anchored on a theoretical framework. So you organize your paragraph based on different theories, models, and other key concepts. Maybe you're looking into the prevalent leadership styles of different political officials. So you could arrange the findings of your literature based on a certain or a specific leadership theory. Maybe you could start with the theory of transactional leadership, transformational leadership, servant leadership, situational leadership, and so on. And then you could move to different models about leadership. So once you think that you already have established enough theories and models, the next thing that you could do in writing a literature review is to write the synthesis. You could summarize whatever findings you had gathered and then think of the implication of these findings and how it could be used to your research study. The last approach, this is what we call the thematic approach. Now this one, I believe, is the most common approach among the other approaches that I mentioned earlier, because with thematic approach, the researcher is creating sub-themes or subcategories that are related to the central topic. Like for instance, you're working on your research study about the healthcare system in the Philippines. You can arrange your literature review by organizing it first using subcategories. You could start with healthcare policies in the Philippines. Then the statistics about the healthcare access of Filipinos. And then you could move, and then you could discuss another sub theme, which is healthcare insurance or the state of the medical system in the Philippines. You arrange your literature based on different sub themes that you created that you think that are very essential and are related to your central topic. So again, these are the four approaches in writing literature review. We have the chronological approach, which is based on timeline. You look into the development of the topic over time. The second one is the methodological approach. You arrange your literature based on the findings of different research methods. Then the third one is the theoretical approach, in which this is anchored on different theories, models, and key concepts. And last one, we have the thematic approach, in which the researcher is going to categorize your literature review based on certain sub-themes that are aligned to your central topic. So for our next episode, we will be learning more about how to write literature review using thematic approach in a much deeper level. So stay tuned, and I hope you learned a thing or two from this video discussion. Thank you so much, and keep on learning!